Elizabeth Bennet grew up in a household without a governess. What she had instead was a sharp tongue, quick wit, and the kind of social confidence that comes from having nothing to lose. And that last part, nothing to lose, is the thing that changes completely the moment she becomes Mrs. Darcy. The Bennet girls had no governess. This was not unusual for their modest circumstances, but it meant Elizabeth's education was largely self-directed, her intelligence real, her reading genuine, her formal preparation for the world Darcy inhabited essentially non-existent. No London season, no training in the particular codes of aristocratic households. Her mother is embarrassing at social gatherings. Her younger sisters are worse. Her family, in the circles Darcy inhabits, is a liability. And yet, Elizabeth is the woman Darcy falls in love with. The sharpness, the refusal to perform deference she doesn't feel, the way she argues with him as an equal when nothing in her social position entitles her to. This is what makes her extraordinary in the novel. It is also precisely what becomes complicated the moment she marries him. Think about Tom Branson in Downton Abbey. Not as a structural equivalent, the worlds are different, but as an analogy worth sitting with. Tom marries into the Crawley family. He is Irish, he is a socialist, he has opinions, strong ones, about the class system he has just joined. And within the family, in private, those opinions are tolerated, sometimes even respected. But the moment Tom opens his mouth in front of outsiders, at formal dinners, in social situations where the family's position is on display, everything changes. He has made the family visible in a way they didn't choose. Tom eventually learned this. He neutralized himself. He learned which rooms required one version of him and which permitted another.
But you see, I don't approve of these costumes. I see them as the uniform of oppression, and I should be uncomfortable wearing them.
Most they do help him.
If you'll just slip it off, sir.
The argument could be made that in doing so, he lost something.
All I've proved is that Lord Grantham would like us serfs to stay in our allotted place from cradle to grave.
There is only one thing I would like, and that I would like passionately. It is to see you leave this house and never come back.
This is not exactly Elizabeth's situation. The social machinery is different, the stakes are different, the century is different. But the underlying question is the same. What happens to someone who married into a world specifically because they weren't already inside it, once they're inside it?
Tom, can I take this chance to say you've managed a very delicate transition superbly?
Thank you.
Elizabeth's wit was never separate from her freedom. When she mocked Darcy at the Netherfield ball, she had nothing at stake. When she argued with Lady Catherine, she had nothing to protect. The freedom to be sharp, to be honest, to say the thing that is true even when it's inconvenient, it came from not being inside the system. Now, she is inside it. Now, when she's at a dinner at Pemberley and a guest says something pompous and incorrect, the calculation is different. She is no longer Elizabeth Bennet of Longbourn. She is Mrs. Darcy of Pemberley. Whatever she says reflects on Darcy's estate, Darcy's name, Darcy's relationships with people he has to deal with for the rest of his life. The sharpness that won Darcy's love is now the thing she has to manage most carefully. And Austen does give us a glimpse, brief and precise. After the marriage, Georgiana comes to live at Pemberley. Austen writes that Georgiana had the highest opinion in the world of Elizabeth, though at first she often listened with an astonishment bordering on alarm at her lively, sportive manner of talking to her brother. she didn't acquire Georgiana's instinctive deference. Instead, Austen shows us Elizabeth's informality surviving inside the Darcy family. And then Austen goes further. She writes, "By Elizabeth's instructions, she began to comprehend that a woman may take liberties with her husband, which a brother will not always allow in a sister." Elizabeth isn't just maintaining herself at Pemberley. She is teaching Georgiana something the house had never shown her before. Maybe the question isn't whether Pemberley would change Elizabeth. Austen gives us a glimpse of Elizabeth changing Pemberley. Tom Branson had to choose: stay himself and keep causing problems, or smooth himself out and belong. He chose the second, and the show treated this as maturity, but also as loss. Elizabeth understood the world she was entering in a way Tom never quite did, and she had something he didn't: a husband who married her specifically because she wasn't already inside it. Darcy didn't want Caroline Bingley. He wanted Elizabeth. The sharpness was the point. Which means the question isn't whether Elizabeth could manage Pemberley. She almost certainly could. The question is whether managing Pemberley would, over time, manage her. Whether the woman who told Darcy exactly what she thought of him, to his face, at his proposal, would still be able to do that 20 years later. Or whether Pemberley would have done to her what Downton did to Tom. Quietly, politely, without anyone meaning it to happen. Austen herself stops just after the marriage, giving us only a brief glimpse of Elizabeth as Mrs. Darcy. She doesn't show us the long-term life of Pemberley. P.D. James, in Death Comes to Pemberley, gives us one version of Elizabeth years later, capable, composed, the mistress of the house. It is James's interpretation, not Austen's. But the glimpse Austen does give us is interesting. Elizabeth's informality survives. Georgiana is changed by it. The house, just slightly, is different because Elizabeth is in it. Whether that continues 20 years later, whether the system eventually wins or Elizabeth does, is the question Austen chose not to answer. Tell me in the comments, do you think Elizabeth would have stayed herself at Pemberley? Or do you think the system would have won eventually? And is there a version of that story you actually want to read? I'm Sana. This is Monica's Pie. The story's never just the story.